Hello and welcome to RStories. There's titles and timestamps in the description. Let's begin with the first one with the title. Today I effed up by stabbing myself in the butt. I'm a 24-year-old female that's currently studying to become a florist. My program contains a number of work experience periods, where we usually work in flower shops for a month to then go back to school for a month, and so on. Now happens to be one of those periods and I'm working at a flower shop in my nearest city. I've been there before, so I already know both the owner and the employee, Jessica. Yesterday was a hot summer day with quite low customer activity. I worked with Jessica and we decided to go out to the area where they keep the outdoor plants to trim them. Well, some of them really needed a trim, so I got to work. For the most part, I only used my fingers to pinch off the dried flowers and ugly leaves, but when that didn't do the trick, I used my beloved floral scissors. I worked on that for maybe 30 minutes, took a tea break with Jessica and went back at it again while she went inside to serve some customers. This time I noticed that my feet were starting to hurt from the prolonged standing, so I lowered into a crouched sitting position to give them a short break. I continued switching between my hands and the scissors in this position, and put the scissors on the floor beside me whenever I didn't need it, with my eyes fully fixated on the plant. After a while I started to feel uncomfortable in my crouching position, so I adjusted to change pressure point, and in a blink of an eye I felt a sharp sensation in my right butt cheek while I heard the fabric of my favorite short jumpsuit rip. Did I just stab myself by sitting on a pair of freaking scissors? How is it even possible to place it with the clipping parts upright in perfect stabbing position without even looking? It can't be, man. I pulled out the scissors by instinct and dropped it on the floor. Still not sure if it went inside or just poked my exterior skin, when I spotted a tiny amount of blood on my finger. I then rushed as fast as I dared with my right hand awkwardly holding onto my butt cheek to find Jessica all by herself at the counter. I told her I just sat on my scissors and asked her to take a look if it went through. After a quick inspection, she confirmed that yeah, sure, I had two pretty deep cuts in my butt, while she grabbed some tissues to stop the bleeding. To my surprise, it neither hurt that much or bled a lot, which just made the whole situation humoristic. She cleaned the area the best that she could and patched me up with band-aids, while we left before temporarily closing the shop to drive me to the nearest hospital. I entered a healthcare center, took a queue ticket and waited patiently for my turn, hoping that I wouldn't feel blood trickling down my legs anytime soon. I left when I told the woman in the reception what happened and noticed her attempt to not show her amusement too. To my luck, someone cancelled their appointment, which made it possible for them to take me in just within minutes. I asked the nurse how deep the cuts were and she told me she could take a photo of them to show me if I would like to. I accepted the offer thinking she would take it with my phone, but she took it with what I assumed was her work phone, while I hinted a quick smirk on her face. Something tells me that we aren't the only people who laid our eyes on that picture. I hope I'm right, because it looked quite hilarious. To wrap this up, I got 3 stitches on each wound, a shot of tetanus vaccine, a follow-up appointment, a good laugh, and it didn't cost me a dime. I'm incredibly thankful for the free healthcare in my country. Sitting, especially on a toilet, is literally pain in the ass. I have a bit of trouble walking and some sensory loss in one area. But overall, it was a 10 out of 10 stabbing experience. I still have no clue how I managed to pull this off, but I hope I learn to be more aware of my surroundings before sitting down. She's right, that scissor can't just stand up like that on its own. I'm thinking that there must have been some kind of brick floor or something similar, but it seems incredibly unlikely either way. I'm glad she's in a good mood and seems to be taking this accident in the best possible way. I mean, she really got hurt, having trouble walking and all. My husband, 42 male, told me 36 female. He wasn't ever attracted to me, but married me because he would have felt bad ending it. We've been together for 6 years and married for 4 years, with no kids. For context, I'd be described as conventionally attractive and I take care of myself. I'm fit, athletic, well educated and have a fun personality. I think it's important to mention that since there's no glaring issue for him to feel this way. My husband is successful, charming, and the type of person who gets along with everyone. Shortly after we married, we relocated from Canada to Europe for his work. I supported this and gave up a job I liked, my friends, and a city I felt really at home in. Now I'm in a foreign country where I only speak the local language at a low level. I'm trying to build my own business and have very little of a support system. I'm too embarrassed to tell my friends about this whole situation. On multiple occasions, he's apologized for our lack of romantic life. There isn't one to speak of and rarely has been since we've been together. He's told me it's not normal for him and it was different with other women in the past. He says he's used to be with really beautiful women. He also said recently that he was never attracted to me in that way, but didn't want to break up with me when we first started dating. What the heck, man? I told him he should have ended it then because now I live a lie and gave up everything to support him. He also suggested multiple times we have an open relationship if I wanted to meet other men, and he would even pay for a male escort. What the heck? He used an old iPhone of mine a few years ago and never logged out of his iCloud. I see that he still has screenshots pics of his ex-girlfriend from IG. He also believes that no one is really happy in their marriage and that romantic love is not something that lasts long term. I don't know what to do. I had to give up my job to support his career, but I never thought it would come to this. I can't support myself with my new job yet, and I don't come from a wealthy family. He's very successful financially. My family and friends love him and think he's the perfect guy. From the outside, we're the perfect couple. But the reality is a disaster that I battle with every day. My self-esteem and confidence have taken a nosedive. I could just ignore everything and live a comfortable life, but I would be living a lie. He thinks we should stay together because we get along in every other way. I know no relationship is perfect, but this is so far beyond normal that I'm not sure how to deal with it. I've suggested therapy, but he says that doesn't work. He wants to stay together and basically stay partners. So, anyone been through this or have any advice? Take some of the money he's offering for you to hire escorts and buy a one-way ticket home. Re-establish your career and make a life of yourself. Why would you want to stay with somebody who regrets marrying you? You deserve better. If you stay, you'll be giving up on yourself. You'll be giving up the possibility of ever being with anyone who thinks you're beautiful. You'd be giving up on finding someone who feels lucky to have you. Don't settle for a settler. My longtime boyfriend, 33 male, says he will never marry me, 31 female, because women are shameless. My boyfriend and I have been together for 8 years, and when we first began our relationship, he never mentioned that marriage was off the table. I specifically remember having conversations with him about marriage once our relationship became serious. And he always said that he was open to getting married, as long as it wasn't rushed. That was 5 years ago. In the last year or so, his entire view on marriage has changed. He now says that he has no interest in getting married because women initiate 80% of divorces, and that nobody wants to work through the slightest marriage problems, and would rather just get a quick divorce. At the end of his little rant, he also said, "Nowadays women are shameless." I'm so hurt by this, and marriage was always something that I wanted in my life. My family keeps asking me when we are going to get married since we have been together for almost a decade. But now I have to accept the fact that marriage is never going to happen, and it makes me very sad. Another strange thing that I now have noticed and realized is how my boyfriend always talks about kids being born out of wedlock. And I have told him that I really want kids, which he said will happen eventually. But does that mean he's going to have out of wedlock kids with me? Also, I'm starting to get anxious about my time clock for having kids starting to run out, so I can't afford him to keep procrastinating and pushing these major life events aside. He's my life partner and I still love him more than anyone in my life. I'm just so devastated that I won't be able to marry the man who I've been deeply in love with for the past 8 years. Are there any possible solution to this problem as I see it? Based on his comments and position, there are no possible solutions with him without compromising your hopes and dreams. He either needs to change his position or you need to find a man who shares the same hopes that you have. Is he actually great or are you just attached? And that was all for this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and thanks for watching.